So, what made you want to pick up trademark? Like, why go to a transactional practice? Did you have experience with this before?
No. So I definitely was interested in intellectual property. I did take some classes in law school, and those were more of my favorite classes that I
Hmm.
took. So it's definitely something that I've always kind of thought about, but I actually just fell into the private firm that I had been at, and I didn't really intend to go into that area of law or stay, but then I just kind of just ended up staying there for years. So then when COVID happened, that's when I switched because courts started closing. First, they cut our salaries. Then, like, they started letting us go one at a time because courts were still closed into June of 2020. And then that's when I decided to pick up trademarks instead. And I spent that whole summer, like, learning even more about it than I had. And that's when I started my firm.
So you used that as an opportunity. That's nice.
Yes.
What advice? Let's say that this were to happen today, but you don't have the benefit of everything shutting down, so you don't have that time. What advice would you give to people today that wanted to take on? They wanted to go from like a litigation type practice to something like trademark to actually learn that area of law and then launch a firm. What advice would you give to them?
I think there's so many people, or at least I've seen so many people, and like advice that you have to like quit and put 24/7 into building this business. And I think that's fine if you do. And I think for me, obviously, that's what I did. Well, not quit, but had 24/7 to do it. But I don't think that needs to be how everyone does it. Like, I think you could definitely spend time, while you're still at a 9 to 5 quote, or 8 to 7, whatever it
Yeah.
is, building a firm, and or at least starting to put those pieces into place behind the scenes, learning a different area of law, doing all the research you can. There's so many paid ways to do it, but there's also so many free resources out there to like learn things as well. So I think learning that also for me, like joining Facebook groups have been really helpful. That's the first thing I did before I started. I had joined a trademark attorney Facebook group,
Nice.
and the way that I went through like years of posts of just people asking all different questions, citing to sources, and then I'd go read whatever they cited. And then I would save all these posts. I'd like so much. I went through years of stuff because it's like, I want to know everything. But it was really helpful. And also not only did I like learn about what I wanted to do, but I also learned a lot about, operational things, marketing, like firm questions as well, not just the law. And also I saw how helpful the other attorneys were in the group. And honestly, I think that is probably the number one thing that gave me the courage to do it, because people used to tell me, mainly my mom, since I went to law school, why don't you start your own firm? And I'm like, no, you're crazy. I'm not, that's never happening. I'm never doing it. And then 2020, I was like, Mom, I'm actually starting my own firm. But that was one of the biggest things, because I was always so scared of, okay, if you're going out on your own, you don't have people to ask questions. Like, you don't have colleagues, you don't have a boss telling you what to do. Like, how do you know what to do? But then I saw in this group, people were all leaning on each other and, so helpful. So that really gave me like the courage to be like, oh, okay, I think I could do this. And then if I have questions, there's literally thousands of people in this group that are willing to help. So that was definitely like the biggest thing.